Good evening, YouTube. Just kind of messing around here. Trying to set up the camera a bit. Me. Cool. Going for the landscape look, not portrait. Okie dokie, well, just thought I'd do a bit of a lively little thing to add to the channel, considering lately the weather's been absolutely crap here in the UK. Frustrating to say the least. A lot of snow, cold weather. When it's not been cold, it's been raining. Not really good for spring, now that we're here in spring here in the UK, with the clocks going forward yesterday, so it should be fairly nice now. We've had a couple of nice days, but there you go. Anyway, what can I say? Experience wise, paranormal for myself. I think my first proper real experience that I can remember was when I was 14, 15, and myself and some school friends started messing about with Ouija boards, really, and then connected with a couple of spirits. Spirit called Robert Male, who was, I think, 21 when he passed. He'd only been dead a couple of years, bless him. And then a female spirit called Ella, and they used to come through regularly on the old Ouija boards. I used to hang around with a guy called Anthony, and his girlfriend at the time was Lisa. Now, between the two of them, they had enough energy, I guess, to do a Ouija board pretty much anywhere. To the point where, if you remember compact cassettes, for those of you that are old enough, these come in a little case about yay big. We were here one particular day, and they used the top of a deodorant and placed it on the case of the compact cassette, and we got connected between the two of them with this deodorant top and the case, and it was literally yes and no answers, forward for yes and backwards for no. Now, I can't remember how we got around to it, but I managed to put my stereo that I had at the time onto a neutral channel, and I think it was long wave, and connected with Robert and got him to basically say to stop when we put the channel on, and when we got to the channel that he wanted to communicate through, and obviously this is before the days of Spirit Box and stuff, and this is just literally a blank white noise channel, and I was sat right next to the speakers of my stereo, because I literally had the stereo and I had the speakers either side, and I connected. I sat and listened. Sorry, well, the two of them connected, and they were sat on my bed, and we actually got him to say yes, that was the channel. So I left it on that. I literally tuned it in manually, and then basically said to him, "What is there anything you'd like to say?" And he said yes, and he decided he wanted to sing. And at the time, his favourite song was "Stop" by a band called Erasure. Bearing in mind this is 99, I think, 1999, yeah, that would have been about the time. And he sang the first verse and the chorus. Now I heard it as clear as day, even though I turned the volume right up. I heard it as clear as day come through the speaker, and it was though somebody was chatting on a radio station, which I thought was pretty damn cool. So there was that. Then from then on, I guess nothing for a while, until I moved into my first flat with my girlfriend at the time, about 12 years ago. And that was a pretty haunted place. It was an old family house, Victorian family house. It was a vicarage. We were told by a medium friend that came to visit us that we had 5 spirits in the flat. One was like a dormant spirit, I suppose, of the actual vicar, or one of the vicars himself, and he used to sit in the bedroom window, which was like the front of the house, and look out. And then we had a couple of others that were relevant to the house, because it became a hospice at some point. So obviously people are, going to be laid up there and going to pass, etc. And then we started getting paranormal activity from the first time we moved in. I think, as I said in my last video, the cook of the house, as it was back in the day, came into the flat and visited the first night, and opened the cutlery drawer while we were sat watching telly. And then the daughter of one of the priests, reverends, whatever, of the house, she used to open doors, and I mean there were fire doors as well, so they had the bar things at the top that were really hard to open. You had to really pull to open them, and she used to open the doors. When I was working later at night, my girlfriend at the time obviously didn't feel the need to lock the bathroom door when she was on the toilet, and the Reverend's daughter took obviously great amusement in locking the door while my girlfriend was sat on the toilet. She used to watch the lock literally turn. And then occasional things like night times. I've always been a night owl, and I used to be in the front room, and sometimes we would pry the door open, leave the door open with I don't know, something heavy. Leave the lounge door open so I'd sit and watch telly in the lounge, and the girlfriend would go to bed with the door closed, but she'd always hear the door open. Like the handle would go down, literally she'd see the door handle go down and open while she was in bed, and she used to like cry out and used to be like, oh Nick, come on, the door's opening, this kind of stuff. And then during the days as well, we used to have a girlfriend was reading a book at the time, which became quite a good trigger object. And it was Diary of a Call Girl. So it was a bit sort of risque, a bit adult orientated, I suppose. Diary of a Prostitute. It actually became a TV series with Billie Piper. I think she played the lead role in the TV series. And always go in the bedroom, and the girlfriend used to leave it on the bed or on the bedside table, but you walk in there and the book would be thrown across the room a good 10 to 15 feet, with like the first 3 or 4 pages bent. And my girlfriend at the time, she didn't bend the pages at all, but you'd always find the book on the floor with the pages bent as though she'd read it. Now I obviously, been in this paranormal field for a good few years, since 1994-95. I decided to use the book as a trigger object. So one night I put it in the front room, and it was a kitchen lounge and area, and in the corner we had enough room for a dining table with 4 chairs, just a round, cheap and cheerful table, nothing special. So I put the book on the table and decided to cover it in flour. Now I was the last person that night out, and I made sure I was the first person in. I took a load of pictures when I got in there in the morning, and the book had moved about 3 or 4 inches, and the pages had literally the first 7 or 8 pages had been bent over yet again, even more so. Obviously the flour had come off, and you could see the movement in the flour, which was pretty cool. I thought it was cool. So I documented that. Other things that happened were where the front room was. I mean, it must have been a massive room that took up our whole flat, to the point where the fireplace for the front room area was in our bedroom. So between that, there was the bedroom, the corridor to the bathroom, and then again another 30 feet for the lounge. And she obviously used to like, as we found out as well, being near the fireplace. So if she was near the fireplace, so therefore that would have been our bedroom at the time. And on 3 or 4 occasions I remember, both of us, me and my girlfriend, lying in bed, and then all of a sudden she just burst out laughing for no apparent reason, and then within literally a snap, she start crying, and then she'd start laughing, start crying, start laughing. It's just like, what the hell? So we get up and we're just like, whoa, freaky ass. And we go and sit in the front room. And like I say, this happened like 3 or 4 occasions. So that was pretty scary, to say the least. We weren't allowed pets in the flat either, but on numerous occasions both of us saw a black and white cat. And then we'd invited a friend of mine round who was friends with a medium, and she picked up on all these spirits in the flat, like I say, 5. And then there was, I think they brought like 5 friends round, so there was 7 of us in total in the front room, and questions were being asked and stuff, and we were talking, and there was like a silence for a minute or so, and then we heard a cat meow just out of nowhere. It's just like, what the heck? And then funnily enough, just recently, I do have a cat here, and he's 16, I suppose. But on numerous occasions I've heard a cat meow here in the house, and the cat's not been about even. He's been out, and I've known he's been out. About 4 or 5 weeks ago I heard a cat meow, and at the time my cat was literally filling his face with cat biscuits, and there's no way he could have meowed. And then yesterday, myself and my little 7-year-old boy, we were sat at the breakfast table in the kitchen, and I didn't hear it, but he did, which kind of verifies the fact that I heard stuff 4 or 5 weeks ago. I heard cat meowing, and he turned to me and he looked at me and he said, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "No." And he said, "I just heard a cat meow." And I said, "Well, Smudge, my cat, he went out about 10 minutes ago. I saw him go through the cat flap." He said, "No, I definitely heard a cat." And I thought, well, crikey. So not only did I have I heard stuff as of recent, just here in the house. I mean, this house is only 30 years old. So whatever's going on is, like I say, connected with the land. And I mentioned that in my previous video, I think my introduction video from before. So yeah, that's pretty freaky. Another bizarre incident today. I've got an SD card in my camcorder, and myself, my little boy, and my folks, mum and dad, we went to Wookey Hole Caves, about 20 miles away from here. And I know most faked have been there. Most haunted. No, most faked. I got it right the first time, because everything they do is bloody faked. Yeah, they've been there, and they picked up on some stuff, and they caught an EVP of somebody poorly breathing, and they reckon it turned out to be one of the divers, because they got they had a lot of cave divers there. One particular guy somehow drowned, and so obviously they got this EVP of somebody breathing poorly, and they connected that with this particular diver that drowned. Although there's been 3 others there that I know of that have drowned. And then today I took my camcorder and my EVP recorder. Couldn't pick up anything on EVPs when I played it back, but my camcorder, that was kind of weird. Bear with me a sec. Getting dry here, chatting away. Anyway, yeah, my camcorder today, I've got a brand new micro SD card, 64 gig, and it's in the bigger one, wherever it is, and you slot it in, put it in the camera. I recorded some stuff, came out alright, and then when we actually went in the cave, we were there, and like the guide was there, tour guide, Steve, brilliant guy, really nice. I chatted to him as when we exited the cave at the other end, and he was doing his first bit in his talk and stuff, and I was recording away with the old camcorder. Got it here actually. So yeah, that's my camcorder. Not expensive by any means, only 50 quid on Amazon. But it's got night vision on it. Got the old screen. Oh, there you go. That kind of stuff. So yeah, I was recording away on that, like the first 5 minutes, and all of a sudden out of nowhere it just cut off. It stopped. Oops. And the 5 minutes of footage before it cut off, it's not on there. It completely disappeared. I put the micro SD card and the adapter into my mum's laptop downstairs to check the footage earlier, and it's not on there. But what I did notice was, while I was stood like filming Steve doing his speech and stuff about the history of the cave and the supposed witch of Wookie Hole, I noticed a mist on the LED screen, and it kept coming across. And I know for a fact that because I did ask him at the end just to clarify, and he did say that the cave was a constant 11 degrees Celsius, and to my knowledge that's not cold enough for breath when you breathe, for the oxygen and stuff. So what it was, I don't know. And obviously you're not allowed to smoke in there, so it's not cigarette smoke, and it wasn't breath by any means, because I tried it. I was literally breathing in front of the camera, and even when I use my phone, I got a Samsung S8, half decent phone, nothing. So I don't know what it could be. Very strange. But it's disappeared, the footage as well, like 5 minutes worth, gone. Somebody didn't want me to film in the caves, clearly. Ooh. Like I say, I couldn't pick up EVPs or anything like that. But, yeah. So when I first started, it was me and a group of friends that kind of got together, and we all used to go to the local rock club because we're all metal people. See, I got my Onslaught t-shirt on today. My youngest thinks it's quite scary that I'm wearing a t-shirt that says "Killing Peace" and it's got Jesus on a cross and then the devil behind it. I just thought, well, it's a metal thing. But he listens to metal with me, that's all good. And Onslaught are good friends of mine anyway. Well, two of the band members, the original band members, Psykeeler and Nige Rocket, God bless them. There you go, little dab for him. Yeah, when we started, we went up the local church, I suppose, after the club. Somebody drive up there and we'd all go up the hill, which is a bloody steep hill as well. And somebody, I can't remember who it wasn't me, somebody had a 35mm film camera, and we were up there this particular night, and they were taking photos, and this one particular photo was just of like off to the side of the church into the graveyard, and the whole entire picture was just covered with orbs. I kid you not, it was like a snowstorm. It looked like a snowstorm, and we were all like, the hell's that? We're not quite sure. My friend James Richardson, how you doing, dude? Give you a mention. A friend of his worked for a local freebie paper. I think he was the editor, I'm guessing. And he managed to get the film and the camera sent off to Kodak UK, the film people, and camera people now, obviously. And they pronounced that the film and the camera were 100% legit. And the picture in question was 100% legit as well. Which I think is hilarious, because about 2 months ago I joined a paranormal group on Facebook, and some dozy bint on there was adamant to the point where, oh dear, I don't know. She did not believe in orbs whatsoever, any shape or form. It was insects, dust, and that was it. And that was her belief, which is fine, you know. You can have your beliefs, I guess. Whatever you believe in. You know, you believe in God and all that kind of stuff. I don't, personally. I'm an atheist. But no, she was adamant, and I ended up arguing with her big time. And I just, oh Christ. There you go. And she was like supposed to be lead investigator of a paranormal group, and I'm just thinking, Jesus, you know. So how you know, how do ghosts start off? Surely, in my believing, that a ball of light, an orb, light anomaly, call it what you will, I've always known about it, that, you know, that is the first sign of a possible, you know, apparition, full-bodied apparition, or just the way they travel, the way they get around. So, but she was adamant it was either dust or an insect. Yeah. Anyway, this particular photo, I'm getting off subject here, this particular photo was just a massive field of insects. Or it was snowing. I don't know. It wasn't snowing. It was like bloody June. Silly bin. Anyway, I'm getting annoyed here for no reason, so I'll STF you. Shh. So yeah, that was that. Then we were set to do an investigation, and we'd asked nicely. Oh, in fact, no, actually, I've skipped a bit. Where this particular freebie paper, we managed to get an advert in there, basically asking, you know, people if they not to be embarrassed and stuff. And James actually put his home phone number in there, bless him. Back in the days of landlines, there weren't no mobiles. 94, 95. And if there were mobiles, they were bloody house bricks. Huge great things. So we had this advert, and got contacted by an old couple that owned a pub out in the sticks and the surrounding areas here, a place called Mark, and the pub was called the Pack Horse. And we said to the couple we'd pop over and give it a bit of a, you know, have a bit of a recce, as it were. And the first night we were there, and that night we were there, we wandered around with the landlord. Bless him. He must have been in his late 70s, due to retire, I think. And his wife, she was pretty poorly, bless her. She had like angina and whatever else, I don't know. She wasn't well anyway. She was sat at the bar and she was really friendly, as was the landlord. And
No, you're watching something. What's wrong?
I'm live on YouTube. But go on.
You're live on YouTube?
Yes.
I just plugged it up.
Right.
Night night.
Mm.
Don't be late going to bed. Don't spoil your what's it now. Then go into a pattern.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I was saying, mother's saying good night. Right, well. Yeah, just recently to us being there, they'd turned the place into a B&B as well. So they knocked down walls and stuff. Now, in doing so, they found buried in a wall the shoe of a small child. It was literally about that big. And they put it in a display case, and it was in the bar, for all to be seen. And of course, the usual occurrence, start knocking down stuff and all that kind of thing, making alterations, upsets the spirits of the building. I mean, obviously it was that old. I mean, I don't know what year it was, but there's like an entrance hall to it, and in the entrance hall they managed to skim off a load of plaster and stuff, and in doing so unearthed a crest, a royal crest of Charles II. So I don't know what date that is offhand. I could Google it, but I'm not going to. So yeah, the crest of Charles II was in the entrance hall, which basically means that he stayed there, which is pretty damn awesome in itself. And it was a coaching place, so that would make it old as well. It was a big gateway entrance where the coaches used to come in en route to wherever. Like I say, once they started this building work, they upset stuff. There was from the back of the bar there was a corridor, and then from the corridor went upstairs to the rooms for the B&B, the bedrooms. And on quite a few occasions, the pair of them, the couple, used to see a mist go from the back of the bar across, or was it the kitchen area, I think, across to the dining room that they put on the side. So that was one thing. Reports of poltergeist activity, glasses being thrown off the bar, that kind of stuff. And while we were being shown around the back area of the bar by the landlord, bless him. There was, I've got to explain this now. Off the corridor and to the right was the ladies and gents toilets, and there was like a glass partition. Then there was a fire door, which is obviously, hard to push. You got to really push it because of the thing on the top of the door. And then it went out, and then there was the back door, which was a proper stable door as well, literally the split jobby, top and bottom. It was like bolted together. And while we were stood chatting to him, and he was telling us a couple of things about what he'd seen and stuff, the back door came open, the whole door. Then something came and pushed the fire door open. Then the fire door closed, as though somebody walked in and walked out, and somebody would come in. No. Closed the door, went back round in front of the glass partition, and the back door swung open again, and then closed and slammed. And I was with my friend James at the time, and we both looked at each other and went, "What did we just see?" And the landlord, bless him, was just like, he just shrugged his shoulders, and they were obviously used to it, and he just said, "That happens all the time." So, whoa, paranormal activity. Two doors that were fire doors opening, bump. Crazy. And that was our welcome to the paranormal world, I guess. So, yeah. That was that. But, yeah, instruments wise, back then, tech wise, was a 35mm camera. Not even, the other stuff we use nowadays. I mean, like I say, the old camcorder. What else have I got? Oh, got this bad boy. That's the Olympus VN 3100 PC, as used by Mr. Tom Buckmaster. And I've also seen it somewhere else used recently as well, TV wise. Not sure who. Yeah, that's a pretty good tool. And that's on the highest setting, by the way. Yeah. None of this 5 kilobytes rubbish. With another particular Olympus EVP recorder that a few UK paranormal groups use. One in particular who seemed to use it wrongly for some reason, and then claimed the EVPs that they caught were genuine. Wow. But not so long ago were calling out some group or other that they got invited to on an investigation. We're calling them fake, but it was a case of practice what you preach, because you'll know better than them, really, and you know who you are. I could name you. In fact, I am. And I've come up with a new nickname for you, matey. And you are now known as Pedo Faking Demons, because you are a charlatan and a faker. Your EVPs ain't jack shit, excuse my French. You're a prick, mate. Absolute prick. And you break and enter into houses. Why? You and Phantom Pants. You're terrible. Absolutely terrible. Shocking. Charlatan. Practice what you preach. Anyway. Stray away from that. So then, yeah. But since then, me and the girlfriend, we lived in like five or six houses and flats. And there was always poltergeist activity. It was really weird. But I know for a fact I married her in the end, so it's now my ex-wife. She was very sensitive, but always in denial. So I think half the problem was I've always believed in the paranormal since I can remember, and obviously her being sensitive, would always get something in all these flats and houses. So I think one of my favourite things, like I said, I've always been a night owl. So she's gone to bed, and we're in this particular house. Now the guy that lived in the house before us had a quadruple bypass, so he was pretty poorly, bless him. And his name was Phil. And speaking to the neighbours, we learnt his full name. I can't remember it now offhand. But I managed to find his profile on Facebook, so I knew I'd seen a picture of him and that. And yeah, we had some pretty weird stuff going on due to him, I guess. And the best one to me was, unfortunately, for a while I was a fan of Most Faked. Sorry, Haunted. No, Faked. I got it right the first time. And so I used to watch it. And the skybox used to turn off. Of its own accord. Make of that what you will. But watching it, obviously he was around and was, I guess, watching it with me. He picked up the Yvette Fielding trait, which was, "Can you copy me?" And it's like, oh. And every now and again she'd get a whistle, which is fair enough. She'd get the sound back. But I remember on 2 nights, I'd be upstairs on the landing, getting my socks and that off, putting them into the washing basket that was on the landing. And it was literally like the lounge, the stairs, and the landing smack bang up above. And on 2 occasions I remember taking my socks off, and out of nowhere I'd hear, with nobody downstairs, whoa, crazy shit. But yeah, that was kind of weird. But anyway, as of recent, I've discovered my ghost box, my original ghost box. Now this bad boy is a radio that used to belong to my mother, God bless her, and she bought it in 1981. used it for however many years, and then bought a new one and discarded it. And I thought, well, why? It's like still a perfectly good radio, to the point where my 7-year-old was playing with it earlier. Unfortunately, I've got no batteries for it at the moment. I think it takes C batteries, 6 C batteries. But I've got the kettle lead for it, and I will literally, hang on, I'll just switch it on for you. And the thing is bloody loud, it's ridiculous. Like, you put it on like 1 or 2. I mean, this is on like 1. Let me find a radio station a minute. Let's put it on FM. See? A radio dated from 1981. Crystal clear, as you can hear. And that is only on 1 volume. There you go. It's a Grundig Music Boy 150 4-band radio, which means it's got, turn that down a minute. So it's got long wave, medium wave, K shortwave, and FM, which you obviously don't get nowadays with any radio. Now, after about 5 years, I think, well, I was using it in 94, 95, and I was using it as a ghost box, obviously, going through the channels, and back again. So I was doing this way before Mr. Pedo Faking Demons was doing it. Prick. And I was getting replies in 94, 95. Bearing in mind, in 94, 95, that particular twat was like 1 year old. I was also calling spirits my friend. And he does that now. It's like, Jesus, dude. And if you've seen pictures of me wearing the face mask with the skeleton, I was wearing that 10 years ago. So there you go. So everything he's doing is just what I was doing 10, 20 years ago. The guy's an idiot. But I wasn't breaking and entering into fucking abandoned houses. Nutter. Anyway, so that's pretty much a history. Like I say, or I haven't said, this particular time around, this will be my 3rd group that I've set up. Mission Apparition Paranormal. Yeah, so please like and subscribe, and once the weather in the UK gets better, hoping to be doing some investigations, whatever you want to call it. By the way, I'm a Marvel fan, as you can probably tell. Look. Got me Iron Man above my bed. Happy days. Cool. We're all coming up for 50 minutes now, and I've waffled a bit. So, hopefully, like I say, hopefully you guys enjoyed a little bit of history. And once the weather chills out a bit here in the UK, we'll get out there and do some invests and some live streams, that kind of stuff. And it's all good. maybe some collaborations as well, hopefully. I know there's some collaborations with some groups I want to do, but whether they want to do it with me is a different kettle of fish. Yes. Obviously there's who can I say? The Ouija Brothers. Yeah, all good. Hopefully get together with them at some point. Maybe Soul Reaper Paranormal. I don't know. I did want to with Phantom Pants, but since they've been hanging out with pedo faking demons, no, definitely not. Also, the fake medium who is what can I say? I donated a £5 to the bugger because he was pleading homelessness with his and using his son as well to plead for poverty. And I've since found out that he wasn't in poverty at all. He wasn't homeless as such. He says he was, but I know for I found out recent that he had plenty of money in the bank. He was offered a new home. He turned it down. Decided to set up a GoFundMe and sponge money off all of us subscribers to his channel, and he had money all along. Which annoyed me to buggery. And that is Mark Smith, Mr. Paranormal X. You're a nasty bastard. You're a nasty piece of work, and you're another charlatan as well. You're a fake. Your mediumship is about as good as my bloody fishing skills, and I've never fished in my bastard life. Prig. Anyway, enough of me bitching. You like whoever you want to like, I guess. But I know he's committed fraud. And I hate fraudsters because my ex-wife has opened so many accounts, etc. in my name. And now I'm getting all the comeback for the debts. Because she's changed the name and everything. But that's a whole different ball game. And I will shut the F up now. Anyway, if you're up for some paranormal investigations in the future, please like and subscribe to my channel. And we'll go from there. So I'm not going to use stupid bloody references at the end of this video like some do. Do you believe yet? What? Piss off. Do you believe yet? Really? Pedo. With your 17-year-old girlfriend. You should be locked up, mate. You should be locked up. And you're a Yank as well. It makes it 10 times worse. Mong. But yeah. I could come up with something. I think I discussed with Steve from the Ouija Brothers a while back an ending for a video. And what else did I come up with? Oh yeah. Be afraid. Be very afraid. No, even that's rubbish. So I'm going to scrap that and just say, are you scared yet? Okay, guys. Thank you very much for watching and listening to me waffle. And hopefully see some of you soon. Okay. Gonna flip. Yay.